Well, welcome back again. You know who I am. I know who you are. You think I don't? Well, yes, I do. I know a lot more than some of you think I do. Anyways, just trying to be funny right off the bat here. Anyways, this is number 2 in the series of videos that I said I was going to do. And this one is number 2 on the mistakes that twin flames make. And I should add in here also, this is not just about twin flames. This is about anyone that has a very intense connection, but we're sticking to the popular label that everybody seems to want to hang on to these days, the twin flame. But this is happening in the general avenue of society everywhere and many different times a day. So what happens is, and I hear this all the time when Nicole and I are doing counseling, and yes, Nicole does do counseling, by the way, the same as me, and we hear it all the time. We can't handle the energy. I can't handle the energy. The energy is so intense. It's just flowing through me and I can't handle it. When we're together, I can only stand to be with him or her for a few hours. Then he's got to go away or I got to go away. And this pattern can go on for months, and I've seen cases where we've been counseling people where this has gone on for years, all right? And you know, I got to tell you, I find it really strange, really strange, that here on YouTube we've got all of these so-called twin flame experts, all right? And, you know, they're even doing workshops nowadays, I understand, to help you get ready to meet your twin flame. I never heard so much bullshit in all my life. If you are having an intense connection with another person, are you not ready for that connection? Because if you weren't, you wouldn't be having the connection, would you? So I think what we need to do is start thinking a little bit before we start formulating ideas and concepts of what we need to do based on someone else's opinion. And the other thing that they're not doing is they're not explaining this on YouTube to any greater degree. So I'm going to take the liberty of doing it here today. So I can't handle the energy. We can't handle the energy. First of all, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to explain to everyone here, and I'm not an expert on this, but I do have over 20 years of experience with this connection and the variations of the connections, and I do know this for a fact. 1, when this connection happens between two people, they are ready for it, and it is essential, and it is initiated not by them, but by that higher consciousness, call it whatever label you want. And what happens is the intensity of the connection is indicative. Now I want to point this out so everybody understands it. The intensity of the connection is indicative of how many areas in the person's personality, in the etheric body, in the chakra system, in the subtle bodies, that need to be brought into balance and harmonized through that connection. Now, because we live in a world of duality, and we have a society that's based on males and females in variations and different degrees of whatever direction you want to go, that is the usual format that takes place. And because we have the format of this, what takes place is it happens between two people in that situation. Now, what happens is depend on, like I said, on those needs that are in both of the people will dictate the intensity or the energetic connection of it at that point. So what happens? What everyone tries to do, and I'm not faulting anyone and I'm not criticizing anyone, is they try to work it out on their own. And they'll try everything that they know about relationships or connecting or whatever else is going on. They'll talk about it, they'll analyze it, they'll intellectualize it, they'll talk it to death, trying to work through it. And in some cases, they may even get somebody to try and help them. That's going to be difficult because if the other person hasn't gone through the connection, they're going to be about as useless as tits on a bull because it's just not going to work for you. So what happens is you'll do like everybody else. You'll go up on the internet and YouTube and whatever, and you're looking around. And this is what I find really strange. And again, I'm going to repeat it here. I find it very strange that there's none of these, well, I can't say none. Okay, I won't say none. I can say that most of the people up on YouTube, especially, giving information, doing counseling, and saying that they're twin flames are not giving the information on the most important thing, is the energetic connection and the mechanics thereof of what's going on between the two people in the first place. So having said that, what happens is in the energetic connection, what is attempting to take place is that energy that the both of you feel is intelligent. It just doesn't happen by osmosis, all right? It doesn't move through your body in a certain way. It doesn't flow through your body undirected, uncontrolled, and everything else. The problem with everyone is this, is when we experience something new, when we experience something that we've never felt before, especially with the energetic connections, the rising of the sexual energy, the opening of the heart center, the moving of the Kundalini energy, all of these are parts of that connection. It is, and I admit, an overwhelming experience for everyone. And I get it. I get it why there's confusion. And what happens is you try to work it out on your own and it doesn't actually work. So this pattern goes on and on and on. So what I'm going to do today in this video, instead of, going on and saying a bunch of information here about what you can do, I'm going to give you information that's going to be helpful to be able to assist you in bringing this together with the other person that you're involved with, so you don't have to go through this pattern continually over and over. Some of it I've already mentioned before on YouTube in a couple of videos. I'm going to do it again. Now I want to mention also before I forget, so I don't leave anybody out, this happens a lot with two people, but I'm going to assure you it can also happen with one person by themselves, and that person cannot have another person in regards to the physical connection. What I mean is they can have a connection in regards to having it with a non-physical person. That could be in the spiritual realms, it could be an angelic being, it could be, depending on whatever the person's belief systems are, they can have some sort of non-physical being facilitate that connection with them also. So there's a lot of variations here in this perspective. So, but I'm talking about two people in the physical having it at this particular point in time. All right. So, what do you do? What do you do to bring this balance, to bring the connection into balance? First of all, I want to say this. The intensity of the connection in the beginning will not last. As the process that's going on within you comes to fruition and progress is made, for example, belief systems are let go of, dysfunctional patterns are broken up and expressed in consciousness, and the two individuals start pushing each other's buttons, and that's what that's all about. You're pushing each other's buttons in regards, excuse me, to getting those aspects of your personality to express and come out, and the chakra system is beginning to open and cleanse and purge also. Another point that I want to remember, that I want to express here, is this. One of the most important things that happens in these connections is this, and I want to go back to my other videos and refer this just for a moment. You've heard me many times say that our concept of love, relationship, and sexuality is going to change. 75 to 80% of the connection is all about that. I've tried to say this in the past, and again, maybe you're not listening, or a lot of people's ears fell off, I don't know. It's not getting in there. So I'm going to kind of vibrate here, and I'm going to turn on the berm during this video and impress the shit out of you energetically, if nothing else, and hopefully it gets to you. All right? And by the way, the berm, which came up in the last video, I've decided to name it, and I'm going to call it the Mel berm. Okay? That's what it's called. It's called the Mel berm energy. Everyone can do it. I've also been told, just as a little goodie, go off topic here for a moment, that Well, I get a lot of information in the dream state at nighttime. It's not really dream state anymore because I'm kind of fully awake, but my body's asleep, but the rest of me is awake. Sounds like most of us here in the physical, eh? The body's asleep and the rest of us is awake. But anyway, what's happened, I've been told, just as a little ditty here, that one of these days I'm going to go into the Melbourne, all right, and I'm not going to come back from it. I'm going to stay there permanently. However, I got to go through some bodily adjustments, and that's going to come in another video where I'm going to talk about the ascension process and the dark night of the soul, which is another piece of bullshit that I'm going to give some information on. Anyway, back to the connection and coming together with the other individual. As that takes place, what you can do is this, and the most important thing right now is to remember, in the initial stages, I'm talking about, let's say, the first few days, the first few weeks, is the least amount of talking that the two of you can do. And the more you can just sit, allow, and if it's at a distance and you're having this connection, you can do it on Skype, or you can do it on video, whatever way you want to do it, is it is very important before you do any talking, any kind of conversation at all, is you shut up, be quiet, let the energy, the connection have a chance to ebb and flow through the body. Let it have a chance for the chakra system to ignite, because what's also happening is the two chakra systems of both individuals are going through a melding or a merge or a connection, if you want to call it that. There is an incredible amount of information that is contained in everybody. Even though some of you have a complete lack of understanding of the connection and the mechanics of it, this is what is taking place. And this should be given as information by all twin flames who are up on YouTube and counseling people. And I'm going to say that, and I don't care if it pisses some people off. If you're getting counseling and input from twin flame and they're not giving you this information about what's going on, the mechanics of it, drop them like a bomb. You don't need them anymore because you need the full package for that. So what's happening is this, is as you do this with no talking for, let's say for 5 minutes, you give a chance for the energy to ebb and flow. Then continue with the talking. Now in the not talking period, as you let the energy ebb and flow, we're going to call that source energy. I'm not going to use the word unconditional love anymore because that's not even in the vibratory pattern anymore. We're going to call that source energy. You'll let the source energy ebb and flow between the two of you. It's going to make the connections under the guidance and devotion of whomever, whatever, that arranged the connection in the first place, so that the exchange can be made of information and knowledge that everyone has. There's no exception. Everyone has access to a lot of information. That information can be exchanged with each other. Then, as the connection continues and the ebb and flow goes on, what happens is dysfunctional patterns and hereditary and genetic traits, and also, by definition, any previous, and again, I'm going to go use the love, relationship, and sexuality here because it's all tied in. A pattern will start where your old belief systems, assumptions, whatever else, are going to come into play, and they're going to be broken up in the love, relationship, and sexuality department. Now, another problem is this, and I'm going to say this, and I don't want anybody to take it personally. There are some people who would say that there are people on this planet who are control freaks, all right? I'm going to say this to everyone on the planet and to everyone who watches this video. We're all control freaks, literally, all right? Because the first thing we try to do when the energy connects between two people, what do we all try to do? And don't tell me otherwise. We all try to control it. We all try to get it to do what we want it to do and where we want it to go. And that's horseshit. Not going to work because you can't control this energy. You're not in charge. You're not driving the bus. So you may as well pay attention to what I'm saying and damn well learn what you need to do to bring this to fruition. A little bit more Melbourne going on here. All right. Now, after the 5 minutes of sitting there and just kind of oogling each other, then you can talk. But the talking will be different because the energies had a chance to connect and meld and merge and flow. So the conversation will be more amenable because you're more closer together. You've merged in meld. The defense mechanisms are down. The control attitude is down. Now, what also takes place is during that 5 minutes is the body. Okay, this is the part that people are missing. I understand how intense these connections can be. But you know, here you are, on average, the average person is about the equivalent of, let's say, a 60-watt light bulb. Okay, I'm just picking that out of my hat. I'm not wearing a hat, obviously. But imagine in the connection for a period of time, the whole of your frigging body, your physical body, now I'm not talking about the other bodies, I'm talking about the physical body. Your physical body lights up from a 60-watt to a 200-watt bulb. How long do you think you're going to handle it? I'll tell you how long. Depending upon your age, depending upon the condition of your body, and I'm talking about your health, all right, will dictate exactly how long you're going to be able to handle it. And if you're a junk food junkie and you're smoking pot or you're doing drugs or you're doing booze or you're doing any kind of chemicals in foods, additives, whatever else, it's going to be a shit stream of negative influences in your energy. All of this stuff you need to learn, folks. I'm not fool-assing around here. You need to learn this shit. And you need to learn it now. And this can be accomplished, and that's why I'm going to give you the information. The first 5 minutes, and then enjoy the conversation, the ebb and the flow that goes on between the two of you. The second thing that you can do is this. And again, you notice I haven't gotten into anything physical yet. All right? But that's the first thing a lot of you want to do is you want to hump and bump. All right? You want to get into, oh, let's play hide the wiener game. Okay, no hide the wiener yet. I'll tell you when. All right? I'll tell you when it's time to hide the wiener. Hide the wiener. Good game. Used to play that a lot. All right. Now, when you've done that first exercise, there's another one you can do when you have the time. And this works better if you're actually together in the same room or in close proximity. All right, if you had to take a plane and go and meet somebody, or you had to make 6 months of arrangements for you to go to wherever it is you're going to meet and have your little rendezvous or whatever kind of deal, is if you're capable of sitting in the lotus position, all right, sit in the lotus position, the both of you. If you can't, get a couple of cushions and put your legs in as best the lotus position that you can attain and sit back to back, all right, straight back to back. And at that point, focus your attention here to the heart center chakra. Remember, these connections are soul to soul, even if it's labeled twin flames. Soul to soul connection. Soul to soul connection emanates energetically. Soul to soul doesn't have a physical body. You're the physical body that soul experiences or resides with partially. But it's a soul to soul connection. So you want to get maximum benefit from the connection. So you sit back to back for as long as you can, no talking again. This allows you to do the same thing. It allows the Kundalini energy, remember this? The Kundalini energy to begin to flow up both of the spinal columns in unison and harmony, which is highly essential in these connections. Again, the problem is you're not getting the right information. You're getting all of that bubblegum shit from all the teapot and tarot card ladies up on YouTube. And that just doesn't cut it. It just doesn't cut it. It's not working. Because I'm seeing more and more of these connections are not coming together contrary to popular belief. And I see all the time the same stuff is going on. Oh, the new moon's coming up. Oh, there's thousands of twin flames coming together. The blue rays are blue raying. The gold rays are gold raying. Who gives a shit? Who's raying? Who's what? Who's an illuminated twin flame? What the hell is the difference? It's a connection. Don't matter if it's blue, black, or brown. Whatever. It's a connection. That's what it's all about. So when you do that back-to-back connection, what takes place is you're allowing again another aspect or a sequence of bodies to be able to take place. And this pertains particularly in the Kundalini energy. If you don't have any knowledge of Kundalini energy, then find yourself a mentor or a teacher or a facilitator or a whatever who has the knowledge, who can give you input of the experience of the Kundalini experiences that you're going through when you have this connection. This is all simple stuff, folks. You know, John Higher Self once said to me, you know, the human species has the innate ability to complicate a peanut butter sandwich. And look at that. We got the ocean polluted, and we can blow it up at any time we want, the whole of society, and we all think we're a bunch of smartasses with intellectual powers that are just totally out of the ridiculous bin. I like that expression, ridiculous bin. That's what's a lot up on YouTube, ridiculous bin. Must be a good one to start. Okay, now, the next area that I want to go into is now we're going to get to the point where you're going to have the sexual connection, all right? Now, usually what will happen is this is the one that people usually want to get into real quick and real fast. Because let's be honest, all right? I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying everybody that I seem to come in contact with, especially on Facebook and YouTube, all right? That's what they're really always thinking about is, boy, the sex is going to be great when you have one of these connections, all right? People, most of you wouldn't know great sex if it walked up and kicked you in the face, all right? You don't. What you think is great sex is a pale reflection to what's actually available to you once we get rid of the old love, relationship, and sexuality belief systems, innuendos, patterns, belief systems that we no longer require. That's another aspect of the connection taking place. So now, you've had a chance, you've had a few days, you've had some time to let the energy ebb and flow. You have not played Hide the Wiener yet. So now we're going to play Hide the Wiener. All right? And hiding the wiener is a lot of fun. And you can put the wiener in many different places. But that's your choice. So when it comes to the lovemaking, this is a couple of suggestions that I'm going to make. If you have the opportunity of being in a situation where your connection can get to the point of the lovemaking. Now, that can happen physically, all right, physically together, or it can happen etherically in the dream state or a meditation state, all right, or it can happen on what they call one of those online type things where you make a connection through video or whatever, all right. But I want to make mention of this, and I want to make this clear. As you initiate a session of sexual expression between you and the other person, keep in mind that you've allowed time now to bring to fruition a balancing, a coming together of the energies, the subtle bodies, the chakra system, the Kundalini energy, and that will include a connection with the seminal fluid during the Kundalini arising that I've mentioned, a Kundalini arising, the seminal fluid of the male, the female, whatever connection, whatever type of connection it is, for the seminal fluid to go through a process of change. Now, what I mean by change is the seminal fluid can then be raised up in vibration and transformed upward into the upper part of the body, okay, to be expressed there as more energy. Now, in the action, I'm going to try not to be too explicit here. I'm going to keep it low key here, all right, on this part. Although some of you will say, well, come on, now just let it out. A little bit, okay, not much, a little bit. Okay, so you're at the point where you're actually in the lovemaking department, and this is what I suggest only. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm suggesting only. And I'm suggesting only, and this is based on my experience, Nicole experience, and the experience that other people have been so kind in sharing with me through their honesty and sincerity. After you make the physical connection, And after you have achieved a physical rhythm of the lovemaking action, all right, I think you all know what that means, then I'm going to say to you, stop moving. Don't move. So you want to be in a position of lovemaking that's comfortable, not hanging off the rafters, okay, or leaning over the balcony, or out in the car, wherever, in a comfortable position, and stop the movement. Now, at this point, both of you take a breath. Breathe in. Exhale together. This will bring the rhythm of breath in unison with the two of you. Then, allow yourself to breathe normally and wait. And very soon, because if the connection is intense, it won't take long, you're going to feel a wave. And it'll go through the both of you. All right? You'll feel the wave. It'll just feel like a flow moving through you. You haven't moved. You haven't done a thing. You just feel a wave or a motion. Then the both of you together catch the wave. Okay? You and partner catch the wave. Now, what I mean by catch the wave is move with the wave that you feel within the ebb and the flow of the energy. Catch the wave. Move with it. All right? The pace will be slow because it'll take you time to catch up because you're used to hump and grunt. All right? And it will take you some time to catch it. But when you do, what will happen is the male then can share the female aspect. And remember I said our sexuality and our sexual manifestation, the way we express our sexuality is going to change. Well, there are many women on the planet who have not experienced an orgasm, and there are many men on the planet who have not experienced an orgasm. And let me tell you something. Males are just as much can experience multiple orgasms the same as a female, but they don't ejaculate. The orgasms can be, first of all, as I'm describing what's going on in the rhythm and the motion, and you're moving with that ebb and flow. Both people will feel an orgasm, first of all, starting in the genital area, and in the male, he will start to experience orgasms through the penis as an energetic pulse, if you will. At that particular point in time, depending upon the biological structure of the two, the vagina can shrink or modify itself, and the size of the penis etherically can become enlarged or smaller, whatever, that is ideally suited to the energetic flow of the two people involved. How am I doing so far? Do I sound like a nut job? I don't think so. I'm a long way from a nut job, I can assure you that. So what happens after that is you can experience, initially in the beginning, multiple orgasms together, simultaneously at the same time, which will go backward and forward through the body like a wash. And each time that it circulates through, it'll start all over again. And one can continue on like this for hours. Now, why I'm saying this is why I've said love, relationship, and sexuality have to change. Because this is what is taking place. Now, if you practice this, what happens is the energy, the connection of the energy, and the intensity of the connection between the two of you will lessen. Because I'm going to tell you something that's really going to blow your mind. There isn't any one of you, man or woman, on this planet who doesn't totally want to give yourself to someone. Literally give yourself to someone, holding nothing back, giving everything you got. And I've just given you the tools on how to do that. And there's no need to protect yourself. There's no need to hide yourself. There's no need to worry about what's going on. because the two of you are so open, so giving, so sharing, so melded, so merged. There's no question of it. The sincerity, the authenticity of the connection. When you do that, you will know what I'm talking about. You will then have experienced the twin flame energy, if that's what you want to call it, and you will know something about it. And you can continue doing this. And what can happen also is as you continue with this and you work with the rhythm of the energy of the flow going through you, you will be able to experience multiple orgasms in any part of the body that you so choose. All right, if you wish. And again, here again, and to some this is going to sound strange, but I'm going to say it anyway. After a while, if you so choose, you can do this by yourself. You don't need the other person. You can simply go into an orgasmic state and stay there. All you have to do is just visualize the person, or see a person, or see another person, perhaps somebody else you know that you connected with also. Someone will say, well, wow, Mel, this sounds like sacrilege you're talking about. No, I'm not talking about anything that's sacrilege. I'm just talking about what's happening. All right? You can do this. All right? This is what is about the changes that are taking place. How many of you out there are having experiences, even though you may be married or you're in a relationship of some kind, and all of a sudden you awaken spiritually and you've connected and you're having sexual experiences with beings and entities, angels and guides and the rest of that stuff, and you're questioning your sanity, what's wrong with you, are you immoral? No, what's happening is these beings energetically, by definition, are simply assisting you to grow and evolve and come out and be open. But the part that I'm talking about here is this, is when you have these connections, you have to realize, and this is the final comment I'm going to make on this video. I don't want to make it too long. We're already 30 minutes here. I don't want to bore you to tears. When you have this connection, all right, I want you to appreciate what's been given to you, all right? To say that you can't handle it is the worst thing that you can do. Because when you say you can't handle it, that's the fear. That's the doubt. That's the lack of information. That's the lack of knowledge. I can help you with the information and the knowledge. All right? If nobody else can out there, I can. Of that I can assure you. And when you finally appreciate the connection, no matter how difficult it may seem at the time, all right, don't use the word, I can't handle the energy. I can't handle the connection. Because the bottom line is, you can handle it, or you wouldn't have been given it in the first place. Your assumption is based on control. You're a control freak, like everyone else is on this planet, in some form or fashion. Like it or not, we all are. All right? And the one thing we are going to learn on this planet is we are in control of nothing. Do you know, just as I end this video, that you are presented with information, knowledge, information, news, videos every day of the year that are there for no other purpose to modify your behavior to suit the convenience of others. So we're all under control, and we're all control freaks. And that is part of the package of what is happening with this connection. It is to break up those old patterns. Now, one thing that I wanted to do before I forget and bring the video to an end here is there has been a big change in vibration lately, and I'm going to call it vibration is attitude. And I'm seeing that there are more and more people in the twin flame community that are having a change of attitude. So to complement those who have had a change of attitude, I changed the names of our groups that we have on Facebook, and I had to mark them down to make sure I get them right here. Our Twin Flame group is now called Twin Flame Process, and our other two groups are as follows: Soul to Soul Connections, and the last group is Soul Connections, Evolution of You. If you're looking for us and you can't find us, you have that information now that you can use to find us. And the groups are good. They're evolving. There's some really good people in there that can be of assistance to you. Thank you very much. I hope the video sits well with you. I hope some of you try some of the exercises that I've mentioned because they will be helpful. How do I know that? Because in many cases I've already given the information to other people already. No charge, you see? No fee involved, just from me to you as a gift based on my own experience and the experience that other people have shared with me. Have a great day, everybody, and a big hug to you all.